welcome back to my channel, and today I bring to you two makeup looks which are appropriate for the upcoming Valentine's Day. One is a very soft day date kind of makeup look, and the other one is a very sexy sultry halo eye look which is appropriate for a date night. Both these looks have been achieved by using very affordable drugstore products that you can get your hands on very easily. And I would like to say that the day date makeup is not only perfect for a date but also for all those college going girls who love to wear a little bit of makeup, or the working women who love to wear makeup to their workplace as well. So without wasting any more time, let's get started with the tutorial. As you can see that my base is already done and even my brows are done today. For the base I have used my Color Bar primer. And I topped it up with the Maybelline Fit Me foundation in the shade 128. I have set it with the Fit Me powder in 220, and I have concealed the dark circles and the areas around my mouth with the Fit Me concealer in the shade 25, which is medium, and I have highlighted the general areas of my face, which is like the center of my brows, the bridge of my nose, Cupid's bow, and the chin, again with the same concealer. So now getting started with the eyes, I am going to be using the Maybelline Blushed Nudes palette, which looks like this, and as we are going to be starting with the day look first, I am going to be taking this color here as the transition shade. So I'm just going to dip my Real Techniques fluffy brush into that color, and I'm going to take it into the crease, taking little at a time and building up the color gradually. Now that I've deepened the crease, I'm going to go in with the lid color. For the lid color, the shade that I'm using is this one, the third shade from here, this shade. It's a very light pinky kind of a color, very appropriate for daytime. I'm going to take it on the same brush, and I'm going to take a generous amount, tap off the excess, and very lightly I'm going to just put it all over the lid. Again, starting with very little color and building up as we go. As you can see, this champagne pink color gives a very beautiful flush of color to the eye, which is very flattering for the Indian olive skin tones, the yellow undertones that we have in our Indian skin. I am going to deepen up the corners using this shade right here, the second shade from the right. Again, I'm going to dip the same fluffy brush into it, and I'm going to deepen up the corners of the eye. I'm just going to create a V and blend. This eye is almost done. It's that simple, guys. And now I'm going to be taking the same brush that comes with the palette, and I'm going to dip into this pinky shade here, and I'm going to highlight the inner corner of my eye. I'm even going to take the same color onto the arch of my brow. And with the sponge side of the applicator, I'm going to take the same pinky champagne color and put it onto the lower eyelid. Again, taking the same applicator, I'm going to dip into the darker color with which we deepened our eye, this one, and I'm going to put it in the outer 1/3 of my eye. And I'm going to just connect it to the darker shadow on top. Now that the eyeshadows of the eye are done, I'm going to finish off the look using the plum kajal, my trusted plum kajal, in the lower as well as the upper waterline. I shall be applying a generous coat of mascara now, but before putting on the mascara, I will be curling my eyelashes using the Oriflame curler. I am going to give my eyelashes a good curl. And I will be using my Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara as always. As you can see that this brush is a little domed. What I like to do is I like to keep the curve towards the top, touching my eyelashes. That way I find that it curls my eyelashes much better. Giving my eyelashes a good generous coat of mascara. And with that we complete the eye makeup for one eye. I'm going to quickly finish off the other eye off camera. And with that, the super simple eye makeup is already complete. Now moving on to the cheeks and the lips. Today for my cheeks I will be using another very affordable palette available at the drugstore. It's available over a lot of websites like Amazon, Purple, Nykaa. You can check online. LA Girl is available almost at every website. I am going to be using this palette called the Glow palette. It comes in a packaging like this. I'm sorry, the mirror of my palette broke, and this is how the palette looks like. It has two shades of the blusher, one contour shade and a highlight shade. So today for my look I shall be using this particular palette. So I'm just going to take my setting brush from Real Techniques and I'm going to dip into that bronzer shade. And I'm going to very slightly bronze up my face. As this is a day look, you don't want your contour to be way too much. I'm bronzing up with the regular areas of my face, which is the under the cheekbones, that is the hollow of the cheeks, the temples, the jawline and the hairline as well. So that's all the bronzing or contouring that I'm going to be doing. I do not want any harsh contours because in the day your makeup is quite visible and we want to keep it as soft and as natural as possible. Moving on to the blush, I'm going to be using this light pink blusher here, the peachy pink blusher in the same palette onto the apples of my cheeks. Again, using a Real Techniques blush brush. Such a tongue twister. Blush brush. I'm going to just lightly dip into it, tapping off the excess and smiling, finding the apples of my cheeks and giving myself a very light dusting of the blush. The blush and the contour shades of this palette are highly pigmented, so I would suggest you to use a very light hand. I always like to blend the blusher up till my temples because it gives you a very lifted kind of a look. So with that, the blusher is done and it looks really natural. It looks like a natural flush of color, not made up at all. Now that we are done with the blush, we would be moving on to the highlight. Again, using the same palette, I shall be highlighting my face. But again, we have to keep in mind, whatever we are doing, we have to work in very thin layers, using very little quantity. As it's a day makeup look, you do not want anyone to notice you're wearing too much of makeup. And I believe, too much of makeup for the boys to see is quite a turn off for them. So, keeping it natural, tapping off the excess, taking the highlight shade in the palette. Very slightly I'm going to highlight my cheekbones. I am not going to highlight the upper portions of my eyebrows as I think in the day it tends to look a little too much. So it will just be the cheekbones that we'll be highlighting. Just very slightly over the nose and the chin area. So with that, our face makeup is complete. Moving on to the lips, I'm going to give you a very neutral option. You can switch your options as per your liking. During the day especially, I like to wear very neutral and very earthy kind of colors. So I shall be using this lipstick from Maybelline. It's called the Color Show Creamy Matte Lip Color. It is in the shade Mysterious Mocha, and this is what it looks like. It's a very neutral brown with the slightest hint of mauve or pink, as you may say, in it. So with that, we complete the very easy to do day date makeup. And this is not just an appropriate date makeup, as I would put it. This would also be appropriate for the college going girls as an everyday makeup, or for all the working women who like to wear makeup to their workplace. Now all of you would not be having day dates, you would be having date nights as well. So I'm going to just quickly tell you how to convert this makeup into sultry, sexy date night makeup. So let's get started. We are going to be using the same palette by Maybelline, that's the Blushed Nudes palette, and taking the same brush that comes with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to intensify my eyes further. I am going to be using the darkest shade of the palette. I'm going to dip in the same brush that comes with the palette. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fill this color in the outer third of my eye. A nice V on the outer third. And I shall not be extending this color beyond the crease, as already we have a transition color in the crease. Intensifying that color a little bit more. Can you see that? And I'm going to take the same color into the inner 1/3 of my eye. So dipping the same brush into the darkest color of the palette, tapping off the excess, taking it into the inner 1/3 of the eye. Again, not extending beyond the crease, the natural crease of the eye. I'm going to leave the center of my eye absolutely bare and not touching this dark color into the center, and just very softly connecting the dark shade on the top, that is on the crease line. I have very softly just connected the dark shade, leaving the center of the eye pretty blank. Now taking the fluffy brush from Real Techniques, I'm going to ever so slightly just buff that darker shade so that there are no harsh edges visible on your eye makeup. We have to be careful, we have to just blend the edges. Over blending can also ruin your makeup, so be a little careful with this. Now you can see that the inner and the outer corner of the eye have become pretty dark, just as dark as how I would like it to be. Now I'm going to pop on the lighter shade of the palette into the center of my eye with my finger. I'm going to be taking this plummy pink color onto my ring finger. I find that putting this color with your finger gives it more intensity than putting it with a brush. Or what you can do is you can wet your brush and then use the color. Either ways would work perfectly fine. I'm just going to be using my finger and just dab that color into that area which you had left there. And just dabbing that color ever so slightly into the darker shade so that it's a smooth transition from dark to light. I'm going to deepen that color a little bit more. Taking the same fluffy brush, just blending the colors together ever so slightly. And repeating the same steps on the lower eyelid as well. Taking the same brush that comes with the palette, dipping into the darker shade first. I'm going to intensify the outer and the inner corner of my eye. And then taking the dark pink color, the plummy pink color from the palette again, and putting it in the center of the lower eyelid. These shadows tend to have a little bit of fallout, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my fan brush to just brush off any fallout that I've had on my face. What I would recommend you to do is that in case you are attempting this halo eye with this particular palette, I would suggest that you do your eyes first and then do your base makeup. But as I was transitioning from the day to the night look, I couldn't have done it, although I would be touching up my base a little bit to just counteract that fallout which I've had. Now I'm quickly going to intensify the mascara as well. And now quickly doing all the steps on the other eye as well. Now that both the eyes are complete, I'm going to intensify that kohl a little bit more on the upper as well as on the lower waterline. Again, using the same palette by LA Girl, the Glow palette, I'm going to take the setting brush and intensify my contour. As it's a date night, I would want my face to look a little bit more chiseled. So, dipping in my setting brush and intensifying that contour. As I mentioned earlier, also the contour color and the blush colors in this palette are highly pigmented. I would suggest you work in thin layers. Once I'm happy with how my contour looks, I'm going to touch up my blush using the same blush brush by Real Techniques, and this time dipping into the deeper shade of the palette. Now that our blusher is also done, touching up our highlight with the same highlight from the palette. I am not very happy with the highlight shade of the palette as it is not as intense as I generally like it to be. But then I guess for the money that we pay, it does a decent job as a day highlight. And with that, we complete the face makeup for the date night look. If you want, you can continue with the same lip option, and as this also looks really amazing with this eye makeup, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit for you. For the date night makeup, I would be wearing a more of a mauvey color, a little more mauvey than this, though I shall be keeping it neutral. You can go in for any pinks or even deeper pinks if you like. The shade that I would be using is again by Maybelline. This time the shade that I'm using is called Lively Violet. It's a shade deeper than the Mysterious Mocha. This is more of a pinky plummy shade, whereas Mysterious Mocha was a brownie pink. This is a more plummy pink color. So just touching up my lipstick now. So with that, we complete the date night makeup as well. I hope you guys enjoyed both the looks. I really love doing both the looks for you. Do mention in the comment section below as to which look did you prefer more, and if you do tend to recreate my looks, do tag me on Instagram. My handle is the same as my YouTube channel, that is The Beautiful Diary. Do not forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you like both the looks. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel as well, as that works like motivation for me to bring you more content week over week. So until my next video, bye bye.